Picture the skies of Naboo turning black, lightning tearing through clouds while hurricanes rip ancient forests apart. Cities that once stood as bastions of Imperial power drown under relentless rains, and above it all, Imperial ships hover like harbingers of doom. This was no ordinary storm. It was a command from a now-dead ruler, a final act meant to break the galaxy's spirit. But why would an emperor turn his power against the very worlds that had sworn loyalty to him? Operation Cinder wasn't just Emperor Palpatine's last order. It was a test, a twisted lesson to remind the galaxy that even in death, his shadow loomed large. To understand this, we must delve into the mind of a Sith Lord who believed that fear was the only true path to power. Only then can we grasp the true purpose of the storms that turned his planets into ruins. After Palpatine's death at the Battle of Endor, the Empire was left leaderless. But as the Rebel Alliance celebrated its triumph, Sentinel messenger droids carrying the Emperor's final command arrived across the galaxy. Their faceless visors glowed to life as they delivered orders that would plunge entire worlds into chaos. Activate the climate disruption satellites. These satellites unleashed devastation, creating storms that tore through atmospheres, generating hurricanes and lightning that could flatten cities in hours. The destruction was relentless, unstoppable. But these attacks were not random. Each target world, whether loyal or rebellious, was chosen to instill maximum fear and uncertainty. Planets like Vardos, home to Admiral Garrick Versio, and his daughter Iden, commander of the Imperial Special Forces Unit Inferno Squad, were turned into war zones by the very empire they served. The image of Vardos, once a model Imperial world, now engulfed in chaos, tells the story of Operation Cinder's true nature. A story of loyalty shattered and hope destroyed. As players experience in the video game Battlefront 2, Iden Versio's journey from elite Imperial commander to rebel defector began with watching her home burn. Amid the rubble and endless lightning, she realized that Palpatine's empire had never been about order. It was about obedience, absolute and unquestioning. And when Iden defied those orders, she symbolized the break in the Empire's iron grip, a shift from fear to defiance. Shadow Wing, the 204th Imperial Fighter Wing, played a pivotal role in this dark campaign. Known for their ruthless precision, they ensured that the skies above targeted worlds remained lethal, obliterating any attempts to interfere with the satellites. Their strikes over planets like Necronus turned vibrant landscapes into barren wastelands, showing that the Empire's power still had teeth, even as its heart rotted from within. The Emperor's contingency was never about military victory. It was about psychological dominance. He believed that if the Empire couldn't protect him, it didn't deserve to survive. Operation Cinder was his ultimate proof, a command designed to show that no one, not even the most loyal, could escape his reach. The choice to target Naboo, Palpatine's homeworld, was not coincidental. Naboo held a special place in the galaxy's heart as the birthplace of both the Emperor and Padme Amidala, one of the Galactic Republic's greatest symbols of hope. By turning Naboo's skies into a storm-filled nightmare, Palpatine sent a clear message: loyalty meant nothing. As Leia Organa fought alongside Queen Sosha Saruna to save her mother's home, the ion pulse they triggered might have disabled the satellites, but the scars of those storms lingered. It was a reminder that even death could not silence Palpatine's desire to keep the galaxy in his grip. Throughout his reign, Palpatine ruled with fear, whether through the Death Star's looming threat or the control he exerted over the Senate. Operation Cinder was the culmination of that philosophy, transforming planets into tools of terror. It wasn't enough to strike down his enemies. Palpatine needed to break the spirits of his own followers, proving that their loyalty was irrelevant in the face of his absolute power. For many Imperials, witnessing this destruction shattered their faith in the Empire. Officers who had once believed they were serving a regime that promised stability were confronted with the brutal reality. The Empire they served would destroy them just as quickly as it would any enemy. It wasn't just physical devastation, it was a mental unraveling, a realization that their loyalty had been a weapon used against them. For the New Republic, responding to Operation Cinder became a race against time, a desperate effort to save worlds from annihilation while facing an empire that was no longer concerned with survival. The battle for Naboo, as seen in the Shattered Empire comic series and Battlefront 2, was a pivotal moment. Leia Organa and Lando Calrissian worked together to disable the climate disruption satellites, preventing Naboo's complete destruction. But for every victory, there were countless worlds where the damage was irreversible. On worlds like Burnin Khan, the rebellion found itself struggling against both the storms and the remnants of Imperial forces. Shadow Wing's precision strikes made every rescue mission a fight for survival, and for every city saved, others fell to the chaos. In the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, former Imperials like Yrica Quell revealed the trauma of those days, as pilots who once fought for the Empire grappled with the horror of having turned their weapons against the galaxy they had sworn to protect. For the civilians caught in the path of these storms, the sight of New Republic ships arriving offered a glimmer of hope, but often too late to prevent catastrophic losses. Families huddled in ruins, watching the skies for signs of relief, as Imperial forces continued to rain down destruction. It was a fight not just for territory, but for the very soul of the galaxy, as the New Republic sought to show that hope and unity could stand against fear and tyranny. But Operation Cinder was not just about destruction, it was a test, a purge. For Gallius Rax, the man executing Palpatine's contingency, it was a way to strip away the weak and unworthy, leaving only the most ruthless to rebuild the Empire. He gathered these survivors for one last stand at Jakku, believing that those who endured would carry on Palpatine's vision. In the unknown regions, these survivors began laying the foundations of the First Order, but the galaxy left behind bore deep scars. Planets like Vardos, still covered in ash decades later, stood as reminders of Palpatine's wrath. Those who fought to preserve the Empire's ideals found themselves questioning everything they had believed in. Characters like Iden Versio and Del Meeko, who chose to defect, represent the internal struggle of a generation that realized the Empire's promise of order was nothing but a lie. The survivors of Operation Cinder became seeds of a new, more radical movement, shaping the galaxy's future even as the old Empire crumbled. For the New Republic, victory was bittersweet, overshadowed by the realization that the Empire's legacy of fear and brutality would not die easily. And as whispers of the First Order began to spread, the fear instilled by Palpatine's final act continued to haunt the galaxy. Operation Cinder's legacy extended beyond its immediate destruction. It ensured that the memory of Palpatine's rule lingered like the ash-covered ruins of Necronus. Even as the New Republic fought to rebuild, the fear and mistrust sown by Cinder left lasting wounds. For those who survived, the Emperor's final act became a dark myth, a story of storms that devoured worlds and an empire that turned on itself. And even as the Acolytes of the Beyond sought out Sith artifacts, whispering of Palpatine's return, the seeds he planted took root in the form of the First Order. The galaxy was still divided, still haunted by the possibility that Palpatine's influence could rise again. This was the true power of Operation Cinder. It kept the galaxy fearful, uncertain, and ever aware that darkness could return at any moment. In the end, Operation Cinder was a lesson in power. It was a final command that ensured even in death, Palpatine's influence would endure. It was a reminder that control, not loyalty, was the true foundation of his rule, and that fear was the ultimate weapon of a Sith Lord. For the New Republic, it was a desperate fight to save a galaxy on fire. For the survivors of the Empire, it was a reckoning, a realization that the Emperor they had served had always been willing to sacrifice them. As the First Order rose from the ashes, the memory of those storms remained a warning, a reminder of what happens when the will of one man is enough to burn entire worlds. Even as the galaxy looked toward the future, it could not forget the shadow of the past, a shadow that had left its mark on every star system that once believed in the promise of the Empire. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Was Operation Cinder Palpatine's ultimate show of strength, or just a desperate act of a fallen emperor? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. For more explorations into Star Wars lore, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, may the dark side be with you.